Hi, it's Steph and Mike from thisiscolorado.net, Season 1, Episode 8. Welcome to our podcast.
Welcome. Hello to Stephanie. How are you?
I'm doing well, Mike. How are you?
I'm good. Anything going on?
Well, I've been up to my summer activities. I've been camping twice in 3 weeks with my family, which was a lot of work for the mom, but it was cool. Totally worth it. Couple barbecues as usual. Got to hit up Comedy Works downtown. That was pretty fun.
Awesome. And
we went to the museum to go see the robots exhibit, which was so cool.
Was it?
Yeah, it was totally worth it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. What about you?
Just working on my radiation treatments and I went golfing for the first time a couple weeks ago and sucked, but
a little out of practice?
Yeah, but I'll get back to it.
Yeah, you will.
And, other than that, just hanging out.
Nice. Well, as Mike mentioned, he's been going through some treatments, so sorry for our hiatus, but it wasn't something we exactly planned on. So thanks for your forgiveness and understanding. We appreciate it.
Yes, thank you so much.
On today's episode, we will talk about
2 idiots who started a fire, Mike's camping hacks, Rocky Mountain National Park, Mike's camping experience, how Steph prepares for camping, and problem solving of common camping mishaps.
Mishaps. Fantastic.
Yes.
So the first thing we were going to talk about today was our news article talking about the Cold Springs fire and that frozen dead guy near Nederland was not near the fire, so he survived just fine.
Let's get into the Cold Springs fire. The 2 men accused of accidentally starting the wildfire that has destroyed 8 homes in Colorado have been charged with arson, and a woman who was camping with them has been charged with trespassing, a misdemeanor.
Dun, dun, dun.
So it was basically a big fire here in Colorado, and it spread pretty quick, but they got it under control, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it took a while, and obviously people lost their homes, but that's a risk you take when you live up in the hills. It sucks, but these guys were trespassing on private property and decided to have an open fire during a fire ban, and it got out of control. And I guess you shouldn't be an idiot and trespass and have a fire when you're not supposed to.
Exactly.
Definitely Jefferson County and Park County are under fire bans pretty regularly during the summer. You know, after the wet season's over, you can pretty much count on it like clockwork. So.
Yeah, and we did look up where the fire ban is and everything. And about half the state's in fire ban, mostly mountain regions, areas like that, because the east isn't really in fire bans, but the mountains,
all farmland.
Mountains and west are have been in fire ban. So
yeah,
because you can't go camping without a fire. So
well, it's hard. When we went camping, we went up into Park County, and they obviously have a fire ban, as I mentioned. So what we did was we bought a propane-powered gas ring. So you do get fire, but you can turn it off. And that's the difference, because if you can turn it off, then it's not like the embers are just going to shoot out and start a fire accidentally. So that's the difference.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was pretty cool.
And like Stephanie said, the frozen dead guy was not close enough to the fire, so he is safe.
Trigva Bougie's grandpa.
Trigva Bougie.
He's taken care of. He's still in his tough shed.
Yep.
So anyway, speaking of camping, Mike, tell me about a couple of your camping hacks. We talked about this, and I thought you had come up with some pretty good stuff.
So one thing that I've done in the past is taken wax-coated cotton, like makeup removers or whatever you would...
Those cotton rounds?
Yep, the cotton round discs, and soak them in wax.
What kind of wax?
I use just what's out of my Scentsy, but it's just basically candle wax because it catches fast.
Cool.
On the fire. So that works as a good fire starter. I found I've used it before and it does work pretty good. Bug proofing your tent. So before you go camping, if you don't like the bugs, the ortho, home defense. Set up your tent and spray all the entrances, windows.
Morty, shush.
And all of the seams and stuff, and then you'll be good.
Morty, go. You're noisy. He growls on the way out.
Headlamp and water lantern. So you basically just take a headlamp and turn it inside out, so where the light faces the jug, and you got a lantern.
Nice.
Homemade. Easy.
Nice.
And then you got to make your grub box. And for our listeners that don't know what a grub box is, you want to tell them stuff? Because you have the most experience with a grub box, but it is a perfect idea.
A grub box it's grub, Grub, like food, grubbin. So a grub box is like a portable small kitchen, I guess. There's hinges close, and you can lock it if you want to. But basically, you open it up. It gives you a windshield for your camp stove, because we have a fire ban, half the season, so you got to be prepared for that. It's a great wind blocker for that, but it also, it's got your paper towels, it's got spices, it's got everything you need to cook in one box. So we just call it a grub box. Yeah,
so plates, silverware, spices, everything. It's all included. So it's a pretty good idea, and I've used a couple before. I believe your husband's, and
yeah, my husband's grub box. It was probably his dad's grub box, and maybe even Grandpa's before then.
Exactly.
So, good camping gear doesn't go out of style, and it lasts for forever.
Let's go on to our feature, Rocky Mountain National Park. A few episodes ago, we mentioned an article on how this upcoming year, 2017, will be a record-breaking year for Rocky Mountain National Park. We said that if you're planning on going, pack in, pack out, take an extra bag for trash you find that isn't yours, to be nice, because we all know that it's going to be crowded. The article inspired us to talk about Rocky Mountain National Park. This episode as well as give you some tips, tricks we've learned while camping both there and other places all over Colorado.
Nice. According to the Rocky Mountain National Park website, with majestic mountains, tundra wildflowers, abundant wildlife, Trail Ridge Road, the highest paved road in the U.S., and over 350 miles of trails, Rocky Mountain National Park is spectacular. From flat, easy hikes around Mountain Lake to challenging multi-day backpack trips and climbs, Rocky Mountain National Park offers trails for hikers of every level.
Right from the website, you can check lodging availability, view photos of the park, and find last-minute travel specials. They have maps galore, trail maps, campground maps, backcountry maps, and more. You can tent camp, RV camp, backpack camp, stay in lodge, cottage, cabin, bed and breakfast, or hotel if you'd like. As far as things to do, you won't be bored, that's for sure. You can hike, raft, fish, go horseback riding, watch wildlife, and even hang out there in the winter. Hunting is not allowed in Rocky Mountain National Park, but you can hunt close by in both Roosevelt and Arapahoe National Forests.
There are several visitor centers and picnic areas that don't require a full day's commitment if you're too busy for that and you're just out for the day. 2 major towns to stay in and play in are on the west side, Grand Lake, and the east side, Estes Park, the beginning and ends of the highest continually paved road in North America, Trail Ridge Road. The road reaches 12,183 feet, and it follows the path laid by the Ute and other Native American peoples that has been used for thousands of years. It is normally windy up that high, about 11 miles above tree line. From the road, you can see Wyoming to the north, the plains to the east, and the Rockies to the west and south sides. You'll see elk, bighorn sheep in abundance. Keep in mind they are wild animals and are not domesticated. Don't feed them, and please give them space.
Yeah, she said they are wild animals, and their natural instinct is
defense.
Yeah, exactly. So You don't need a bighorn sheep coming.
No, those things are scary. Like, they're super powerful, too.
Yeah. Well, their horns are just massive. So.
They're intimidating.
Yes. I found a pretty cool time-lapse video of the drive on Trail Ridge Road. So I'll link it to that for you all to see. There are lots of places to pull off and take pictures. There's also a virtual drive on the Rocky Mountain National Park website. It's a good overview of where the road goes.
If Trail Ridge is too crowded for your taste, and trust me, it's crowded pretty much all the time from everything I've seen, because it's the highest continually paved road in North America. If there's a tourist coming here, that's probably what they're going to do. So
yeah.
If that's too much for you, there are several other scenic drives in and near the park at Roosevelt and Arapahoe National Forests. I've been up to Mount Evans several times myself. The air is definitely thin at 14,000 feet, so beware. We talked about altitude sickness before, so just, take it slow. Don't rush. You could head to the back country up Old Fall River Road, which is actually the first road over the Continental Divide. You can see where the Colorado River starts. You can travel the peak-to-peak highway that leads to Central City and Blackhawk or to Eldora ski area. You could also go to the Big Thompson Canyon and check out the areas that flooded a few years ago over there.
That was so sad.
That was some scary flooding.
Yeah.
I mean, it happens occasionally, but that one was pretty bad.
That was a 100-year-old storm right there, because it flooded so much.
Yeah, it was definitely rough. So, Mike, tell me, what kind of camping have you done? Do you RV camp, backcountry, reserve spots, private land?
I've done some RV camping when I was younger. Backcountry stuff I don't really get into, just because danger level. I don't want to get lost in the middle of nowhere.
There's bears in those hills.
Exactly. The reserve spots, yeah. If that's all that we can find, we'll do it. But we prefer private land over everything else. And I'd say private land is my favorite.
How come?
You're just free. You're just free to enjoy all the wilderness and all the wonder in front of you.
And none of the people problems that come with
exactly.
reserve spot camping?
Yes, exactly. So yeah, that's why I like private land.
What do you generally do when you go camping? Like, how do you occupy your time?
It depends on what's there. Like, we went camping on private land. You were there. Shooting, fishing.
Bog golfing?
Yeah, bog golfing. So we go to this guy's property, and he's got like 6 holes set up out in the field. And, it's super boggy and just so rough. But me and him played like 6 holes, and, it was fun. It was something to do. They also had go-karts and three-wheelers and stuff like that. So it was a fun trip.
I remember that trip. There was also a bunch of cows up there. It's like a lot of the private land up in the high country is also ranching land.
Yep.
And so because of the ranching land, oftentimes you can't put up a border fence because the cows need to be able to roam because they were there. Well, the families that have those rights were there first.
Yeah.
So there was a stampede of sorts. Man, when you get like 20, 30 cows going at a good clip, that's scary. It makes the ground shake.
Yes, it does.
Makes you want to run and hide, but it was still pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was so much fun.
Word. Let's see. What is a bad thing to do or a bad experience you've had camping?
I almost ruined that same trip by getting drunk and almost falling into the fire, so...
Oh, God, I remember that.
And that was... And that fire was so hot.
Yeah.
It melted that Jack bottle in like 3-4 minutes. So it was pretty hot. That would have ruined my weekend.
And possibly your life.
Yeah. So if you're getting drunk, stay away from the fire.
FYI, pro tip right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I swear I was like maybe 10 inches away from it, and I was like, oh.
That's not good. All right.
Yep.
Let's see. What's the best and worst parts about camping? What's the best part about camping?
Getting there, setting it up, and cracking that first beer or that first bottle of whiskey, because you're like finally there. You know, you waited all month to go camping or whatever, you know, it took to get you there, and that's your reward. That's the best part about camping.
What's the worst part?
Picking up, going home.
Aw, sad day.
Yeah, sad day. The drive back, I say, is probably the worst.
Right? Because you're dirty, usually. I mean, I don't know. When I go camping, I don't go places that generally have facilities like showers and flush potties. When I go camping, it's out in the middle of nowhere. So, you know, you're dirty by the time you leave 3 or 4 days into it.
Yep.
And you're tired, and you probably haven't slept as good as you do when you're at home.
Oh, never. I can't sleep in for nothing camping. It doesn't matter if I go to bed at 4 in the morning. I'm still going to be up at like 6:30. So.
When that sun rises, it's like, good morning, world.
Yep, and you just got to deal with it.
Yeah, and then it's hard to take a nap because it's hot. And there's no shade, and you're crabby, and okay. What's something that you can't live without when you go camping?
I'd have to say my tomahawk.
Your tomahawk.
You know, cut down tree.
What are you cutting down trees for?
Firewood.
That's some green wood.
Well, or cutting up firewood.
Okay,
I would
there you
say.
go.
Dragging logs, because it's a multi-purpose tool. So, you know, I could snag a log with, you know, the tip of the blade and just drag it to where I'm going to cut it, or drag it to the fire. So yeah.
And it's also the only time you really get to use a tomahawk, so you have to bring it. It's kind of important. All right, what's the best spot to put your tent?
Flat and in the shade.
Flatten in the shade in the morning or flatten in the shade in the afternoon?
If you're good enough, you can find both. And that would be the same spot.
That's a sweet spot.
It's a very sweet spot.
So maybe surrounded by a nice little grove of trees or something.
But if I had to pick it, I'd say shade in the morning.
Yeah.
Because that's...
As soon as that sun comes up, it's like your tent turns into a vegetable steam bag that you throw into the microwave.
That's so
right?
gnarly.
You're all hot, or you're all cold all night because, you know, there's wind and everything, and the temperature definitely drops a lot lower up in the high country than it does down here on the flatland. So you're cold, and then all of a sudden, man, that sun comes up and you're like roasty toasty.
Yes, of course.
And then you can't sleep when you're that hot.
No. And then it's not good for everybody involved.
Nobody's happy.
No.
All right, what's something you'd like to do but have never done while camping?
Catch a fish.
Yeah? You go camping and fishing, you've never caught fish while you're camping?
I haven't caught a fish in probably 20...
How often do you go fishing?
Like twice, 2-3 times a year.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. I'll have to fix that.
I know. I haven't caught a fish in like 20 plus years, so...
Well, we went camping twice, as I mentioned, and on one of those camping trips was my son's first fishing trip, and he caught the only fish that anyone caught that day, for that whole trip.
That's such a good feeling.
Oh my gosh, he was so stoked. It was awesome.
That's so awesome. How do you prepare for camping, Steph?
Well, I've got to prepare for me and my 2 little kids and my hubs. So when I prepare, I start with making lists, because if I can compile a list over a week or 2, it's less likely that I'm going to forget something that we need, but not impossible, because the first time we went up, I forgot to bring my son's inhaler, you know, just as a precaution. Yeah. And there was a fire down in Colorado Springs, and since we were up in Park County, the wind carried that smoke, and I was having a hard time breathing. Thankfully, my son didn't have a hard time, but, you know, it's kind of scary. So, I added it to my perma list that I now keep, but really it just starts with making a list and breaking it down. Food categories, clothing, medical, and entertainment. You know, little kids, I thought they would get a lot more bored than they did. My daughter just loved to play in the dirt. She thought that was the bee's knees. Right. So I really didn't need to bring much for her, because she found the dirt. She was fine, camping outside.
The dirt found her.
The dirt found her. Nice. So that's about it. So we wanted to talk about some problem solving as we always do. So we're going to talk about the do's and the don'ts of what happens if you get into a bad situation.
So when going up to the high country, keep in mind that it doesn't get as warm up there as it does down in the city. For example, the highest average temperature in Estes Park only reaches 78 degrees in July. That's a tip you can use in the heat of the summer when the city gets up to the hundreds, get up to the mountains.
Yep, local secret. It's hot down here. We're heading up the hill.
Yep, exactly.
On Trail Ridge Road, it has snowed every month of the year. So always pack warm clothes. I know Mike and I hammer on this quite a bit, but bring your freaking hoodie. Layer up. Estes Park and Grand Lake are on the lower end of the elevation in Rocky Mountain National Park, and they sit high as it is. I think they're about 9,000 feet or so.
Yeah.
So, wear your layers.
There are fees to get into the park. They did increase October 2015, but there are usually several free days during the year. Check the website for details on that. A day pass for your carload will run you $20, $30 for 7 days. Pedestrians, bicycles, motorcycles, and mopeds, $10 per person, not to exceed $20 per vehicle.
I want to know how many people you can get on a bicycle, motorcycle, or a moped where they had to say that it's not going to be more than $20.
I've seen videos, and there's people that sit like 6 people on motorcycles.
Are they stupid?
I'm just saying.
Okay, well, I mean, here,
so
you learn something new.
Yeah, exactly. Somebody had to have done that for them to create that.
Again, that was a reaction.
Yes, exactly.
Somebody caused that.
They are valid for 7 consecutive days, including date of purchase, and available at all Rocky Mountain National Park entrance stations.
If you plan on going more than once, just buy an annual park pass for $50.
A separate fishing license is also required for fishing and can be obtained at places like Ace Hardware, a few Army-Navy surplus stores, Bass Pro Shops. So don't forget your fishing license. And it's all linked in the transcript. You can also obtain one by calling 800-244-5613 or online at Colorado Parks and Wildlife office, and it will be mailed to you. Received in about 10 days. That's pretty good service.
Yeah, not too bad.
Yeah. This is Colorado.net, helping you create a day to remember.
We are always interested in what you, the listeners, have to say. If you'd like to share your experiences, adventures, destinations, unique Colorado eats, or people causing positive change who are passionate about what they do, tell us more at thisiscolorado.net or leave us a message at 720-733-1231, and we might feature it on an upcoming episode.
When you do what you've always done, you'll get what you always got.
If you found value in this episode, do us a favor and tell a friend. Completing our listener survey is a great way to give us feedback.
All of our links from this episode are in the show notes or at thisiscolorado.net. From one Coloradan to the next, this is Mike and Steph saying, keep it colorful, Colorado.